don't do the most, but I do a lot. I'ma make a toast, cause we still alive. No big, I feel like Pac. I shoot a shot. I'm coming in hot. Coming in hot. Shoot that. Hey, why not? Yeah, coming in hot. Just like the fajita. I write what I live. My life in the speaker. I'm nice with the flow. Just like the demeanor. I'm feeding my fam. I'm feeding the meter. They got the iron while I got the steamer.
Today we are, as you've seen by the description of the video, going to be having a look at something quite special. So guys, this is something that I built at the very start of lockdown. I'm assuming that we were going to be able to play Airsoft. Here we are almost an entire year later, and I still haven't got using it in a skirmish. So guys, this is my brand new custom high Capa. So rather than sitting here talking about this, take a little bit of a closer look. So we're going to go over some of the cool things that I have done to this nice high Capa, where I got the parts from, and what it's like. So first of all, bought the base from Elite Shooting Centre. It's a UK company, and this guy sells custom high Capas like right out of the box. So and he gives a year's warranty on them. So if you wanted something completely custom built without having to actually do anything yourself, then definitely check them out. But we'll start with the magazine. Standard Tokyo Marui magazine, nothing fancy done to it. It's pretty good. And we also have some extendos. I got a couple of them. So, working away from the bottom, got this cool STI trademarked flared mag well, and this just really makes inserting mags 10 times easier. Moving up from there, I'm sure this is probably the talking piece of the whole thing. We have my custom grip sticker, we'll call it. So, the design was done by me. Done it all by myself. I just took some images, merged them together, made them look pretty, done some background work on it. But I think overall it turned out pretty damn well. And obviously that's the theme for the whole thing, was Goku Black, Super Saiyan Rose. So that's where I started, guys. I wanted something like this. I originally did have a stippled grip because I couldn't find anywhere that had this kind of custom grip printing anywhere, you know, in the UK. There was a guy on Instagram that was going to charge me, you know, £50 or £60, Great British pounds for the grip sticker, but I couldn't really justify it. I got a cow grip, which is kind of this whole thing here, and just stippled it myself. But since then, I came across this company called One Shot Airsoft that are UK based. Obviously, I'm not sure if they would charge you extra if they were designing it themselves, but if you are able to design the actual grip itself, send them across the file, they'll put it onto their template for their grip, and they'll print it off for you. And I paid £20 for this, which in my opinion is pretty great. And I got 2 stickers. So if I wanted to put on another sticker, or if I wanted to put on another pistol, I could. Or if this one wears down, I can replace it pretty easily. But £20 in my opinion, it's expensive for a sticker, but for one that's, you know, high quality, it's not got much grip to it, but it is nice. It doesn't feel like it's going to wear off anytime soon. So, like I said, we got the cow grip here, and just the standard cow kind of hammer spring housing in there as well. Standard Tokyo Marui mag release. There's nothing wrong with it. It works 100% fine. And then we also have a cow 2-piece trigger on here. We'll get to the actual workings of the trigger a little bit later. Everything else, this is going to be a standard Tokyo Marui beaver tail. This is from the 5.1. Again, standard safety from Tokyo Marui, and standard slide catch, which isn't really needed on this build because I do have it short stroked. Moving back from there, I have replaced the hammer with a steel hammer, and I've also got one of these little plates on the back of the housing. This silver piece that you're seeing is a little protector plate which prevents the hammer from knocking onto the frame and warping it. And again, you can get these from Elite Shooting Centre. They're about £8 or £9, I believe. So because I've changed it to a steel hammer, which I really only done because I wanted it black. I kind of wanted to go for an all black look, with the details being in the slide and the grip. So I could have gone without it, but I could have stuck with the silver, but I felt it was necessary to change it just for the overall aesthetics. So as you can see, we've got standard Tokyo Marui sights. Again, I haven't felt the need to change them. I do know that they will shoot off eventually, but by that stage I'll probably have upgraded this in some way as well. But for now we've got stock Tokyo Marui rear sight, and then for the front sight we do have, I believe it's AIP front fiber sight. That's green fiber. Again, bought from Elite Shooting Centre. They have pretty much everything you need to build a 5.1 high Capa. If you're looking to build a 4.3, they might have some spare parts and things like that there, or one-off pieces, but they overall will not have many 4.3 high Capa pieces. Speaking of 4.3, as you can see, the frame does have a rail on it and is cut at a weird angle. So Elite Shooting Centre did sell this with the frame custom. This is pretty much a 4.3 frame, which has been sliced at an angle to kind of match the 5.1 slide cuts. So it means that you don't have, one of these weird ass kind of front angled gold match style frames, or you're not going to have a weird 4.3 frame which finishes here, and you got all sorts of weird aesthetic looks going on here. So this one is literally built perfectly, which is one of the main reasons why I bought the thing from them, was because they had this cool custom frame cut. And you can buy frames that do stop here, and go straight, advanced frames, but you're talking like £200 for the likes of that, whereas I probably paid about £200 for the pistol base itself. So you're probably best, if you can get something like this, to go for something like that. So moving forward from there, we do have just the standard Tokyo Marui spring guide plug, and we do have one of these fancy Airsoft Masterpiece slides, which has some cool serrations and cuts out of it. And again, I got this as a piece from Elite Shooting Centre because I wanted to go for this kind of cool pink black look, purpley, pinky, blacky look. So let's move a little bit around here. So now we're looking at the barrel. At the start of lockdown, this was probably the most difficult thing to source from anywhere. Elite Shooting Centre wasn't able to stock any, and because of the lockdowns everywhere in the world, it was hard to get, manufacturers and companies to make things and deliver them out to the UK. So likes of like Cow inner or outer barrels were quite difficult to get a hold of. So this one was not cheap. I actually got this one from Monk Custom Airsoft. If you're in any way interested in Speedsoft and that, you probably have heard of them. You'll probably know them most of all for their Euro Tactics M4 grip, which will allow you to attach an HPA tank to the grip of your M4. So I wanted a black barrel specifically, plain black. If I had been able to get one of the tornado style ones with twists in it, wouldn't have been as aesthetically pleasing for me, because I would have had silver pieces on it, and I'm trying to keep this just black, two-tone black, purple, black, pink, whatever you want to call it. So I needed to go for this. Now this, I believe, is an Airsoft Masterpiece steel barrel. So the barrel itself does not come threaded, but Monk Customs did actually thread the barrel themselves. So what this means is that you're able to attach tracer units to it specifically, or thread adapters. So if you take something like this X Cortex, fits on there nicely. So we've pretty much covered everything outside. Obviously you can see that I'm running a TLR 1HL with a little nice lens cover. Now this lens cover is made by Capa Airsoft. I got it from highpressureairsoft.co.uk. They have a couple of different colors, so you can go in there, unscrew this. I had to actually unscrew this Allen key for some reason to get it off, but unscrew that, replace the kit lens that's already in it, put that on, and it is rated up to 400 FPS on 0.2 gram BBs from like point blank range. So for here in Northern Ireland, we got 328 FPS on 0.2 gram limit, so that is more than plenty. Boom. No, one thing I did forget as well is I have replaced these grip screws. These are AIP aluminium screws. If you're going to change these out, be careful not to torque them down too much, as it will break. I did actually experience that, but Chris over at, I believe his name is Chris, over at Elite Shooting Centre was able to replace this for me, completely free of charge, which was really, really nice of him. So thank you for that. So let's have a look at the inside, what I've done internally as well. So as you notice, guys, I was able to pop this out super easy. If you've seen my last video, you know that this is one of the free high cap upgrades that you can do. I would definitely recommend it, because you've just seen how stupidly easy it is to take this thing apart, and it's not going to pop out mid-game. So here we have it, guys. From here, we do have the standard Tokyo Marui blowback housing. Obviously, we've got this plate fitted to it to protect the frame, but the housing itself is completely stock. Because it is slightly heavier with a metal slide, it is probably going to affect your gas efficiency, but the recoil off it feels so much nicer than a lightweight blowback unit. But if you would rather have a lightweight blowback unit, you certainly can change it out to that. In here, we actually have an Elite Shooting Centre custom nozzle, which is reinforced. And then we've got the stock Tokyo Marui hop-up unit, as you can see. Now, inside the hop-up unit, I do have a custom Elite Shooting Centre bucking in there, and their inner barrel. This thing on green gas is shooting right on 328 FPS. So he's done a fantastic job of actually making this thing perfect for whatever area you're shooting in. Moving forward from there, we do have some Cow short stroke buffers on here. You get a pack of, I believe, 8 and different colours of them, which will indicate different kind of strengths of the rubber, so they're different squishinesses, I suppose. So moving forward from there, we do have a 120% recoil spring. We have a Cow spring guide as well. This looks so much shinier and new than the actual buffer for it. Spring guide capture. That's because this is just a stock Tokyo Marui one. It's nothing fancy. So what does it mean whenever you short stroke it? Well, for one, that's as far back as the slide goes. We render the slide catch completely useless. Why would you want to do that? Well, first and foremost, it just reduces the amount of distance that the slide has to travel to return back. So in theory, you can get faster repeat shots as long as you can, pull the trigger that fast. So if you do find that you're pulling the trigger multiple times, but you're only getting maybe 1 or 2 shots off, whenever you've pulled the trigger 2 or 3 times, it could be an issue, and that may mean that you want to short stroke it. So back to the barrel again, guys. This is actually a fixed barrel. So as you can see, whenever I pull the slide back, the barrel itself does not move. So this will aid in accuracy, or so they say. I've seen great results from this anyway, but that's probably one of the main things. Probably the biggest reason to have a fixed barrel is if you are going to attach a tracer unit, this will increase the weight on the front of the pistol, on the barrel. So whenever your slide is cycling, this will drop down and create tension along here on your slide. It'll create friction, which will ultimately make your slide travel slower, not as smooth, and it will waste gas efficiency. You may find, like, you completely gas out, it empties your entire mag of gas if you experience something like that. And that's one issue that you may have if you had like a Glock, for example, and you're doing that because they just don't get fixed barrels. So it's a huge advantage of having a fixed barrel. You can actually modify the stock Tokyo Marui plastic barrels. So if you do want to modify it without having to spend, I paid about 130 euros for this barrel, which is absolutely insane. If you did want to modify that, if you're happy with the plastic barrel, that's perfectly fine. I know Chris did thread the inner barrel, or the outer barrel, sorry, that came with this. So I am able to use the stock, 5.1 high Capa outer barrel. But I've opted for this because it's black, it's fixed. It's so much nicer. You'll also find that because there's no friction between any parts, the slide to frame fit is just literally butter. So this thing just cycles so smooth. So, moving back to the internals again. We've got stock frame, we've got stock internals here. So, like the sear, the leaf spring, I believe, is still stock, and the hammer spring, everything. It's all stock Tokyo Marui except for this hammer, which I replaced for a steel one. So, the parts themselves from Tokyo Marui are pretty great. The actual trigger pull, performance and everything is just fantastic. I have no reason right now to change these parts out. If ultimately they do break, I'll probably upgrade to steel parts just for, greater durability. You find sometimes if the sear breaks and things like that there, you'll get like full auto problems and things like that. So if that does happen, yeah, I'll just change it out. It's no problem. So I did actually get some replacement parts whenever I bought the hammer, which I believe, I can't remember where I bought it from, but I got it as a set for £20. And I also got, a sear and a disconnector as well for the £20, which were all steel parts. I'm not sure how good the quality is on them, but I didn't feel the need to change them out because, like I said, these parts are great, function really, really well, and there's just no need to change them right now. So I keep them stock. For the trigger bar, the trigger bar is a stock Tokyo Marui trigger bar. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it, which again connects to this Cow 2-piece trigger. I just wanted a flat face trigger, one that was quite short, so there's a lot of room in the trigger guard. So I went for this one in particular. As you can see, there is very little movement there. So the trigger itself is tunable to reduce over travel. So what that means is whenever you pull the trigger and it comes back past that breaking point, it has a minimum travel distance. So it means that as soon as you pull it, you can pull the trigger forward again and get a quicker reset. I've also done a small modification, which if you've watched my last video, you'll see there's some tape in between the trigger bar and the inside of the grip itself. So you might not be able to see it, but watch my last video, you'll be able to see it there. But that basically is what is reducing the amount of take up on here. So whenever I pull this, very little take up, very little travel back. So next to no travel. So let's put it back together and have a look, see what that trigger pull is really like. So here we have take up. It's just literally, it feels like, the best way I can describe it is breaking a piece of fiberglass. So if you're pressing this trigger up against a piece of fiberglass, it breaks so lightly. And then the reset is there. So this thing, because the distance that the trigger travels between whenever you reset it, whenever you pull the trigger, you're able to shoot really, really fast, which is nice. Which, in my opinion, is probably one of the major things that you'll want from a high Capa, is that you're able to pull the trigger pretty fast. These things are quite often used in speed soft environments, so being able to shoot quite fast is pretty appropriate for those guys. So let's talk about the mags. I got Tokyo Marui mags. Here's an extended one. It comes with a stand. I've got 2 of these. Still waiting to get a third one because apparently it's impossible to get Tokyo Marui mags in the UK at the moment, or at least extended ones. Standard 5.1. One thing to note about the mags is if you are going to use a flared mag well like this, you're not going to be able to use the 4.3 mags, purely because this section of the base, you'll see this line here, this part of the base is much shorter, and therefore, you know, the base plate itself is much shorter on there. So whenever you put this in, it just won't fit. You'll actually have to file away, you know, the edges around here of the base plate to actually get it to fit, or just, you know, remove the base plate altogether. But I do have a long-term goal with this thing. Long-term goal is to be able to use this HPA tank with it. I'm just going to HPA tap the mags, the extended mags. If I can, I probably will get one of the M4 adapters, just for increased mag capacity and not having to change mags as often. But for now, if I run, you know, 3 extended mags, 50 rounds each, should be fine. Just carry a speed loader with me. That should be 100%. So let's head back up top now, guys, and have another quick look at it again. And we're back. Let's talk about the price tag on this. Was not cheap. This thing probably cost me about £500 or just north of £500. It's a lot of money to spend. You can probably get yourself a really, really nice, like, custom cry tack and stuff for that type of money. So it depends if you're really that invested in pistols. For me, I love it. Probably the question on everyone's mind, you know, is, you know, am I a speed softer then? You tell me. So, I mean, I wouldn't consider myself a speed softer by any means. I like the whole, you know, high speed, low drag style of gameplay. I'll be honest with you, I am a fan of speed QB. You know, I like the competitive element, but I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily a speed softer. I'm probably more invested in the whole milsim side of things. But, you know, high Capas, in my opinion, you know, they're based off 2011s, which are predominantly used in competition shooting in the real estate applications. So if I'm going to go for something like a high Capa, I probably want to make it, you know, the equivalent of a 2011, which is a high performance firearm, high performance pistol. So to make something, you know, really unique like this, and something that's going to outperform most people's pistols and probably most people's rifles, it's just insane, because the accuracy out of this thing, the accuracy out of this thing, it's just fantastic. You know, Elite Shooting Center have made one hell of a pistol. Can't applaud them enough for what they've actually done. For the future, I'm probably going to do some more to this. What I'm really looking at right now is Elite Shooting Center have an RMR or a Seymour sight mount, which will go into the slide release and the grip. So connect through here and sit up above, which case I'll probably end up putting like a charging handle in, you know, in the aid of being able to actually rack it. Get rid of this sight because it will interfere. But that's probably the only major thing that I need to do to this until parts start breaking with it, which it won't happen until I'm able to start, you know, skirmishing with it properly instead of just shooting it in the back garden. You know, nothing's really going to happen with it in the meantime. So the one question that's probably on everyone's mind is this going to outperform a £100 high Capa that's on the market, ready to use out of the box? I'm going to probably make a separate video about that, and we'll compare a really budget pistol compared to this, see if there's any major differences. But we'll leave that for the next video, guys. If you have enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing if you haven't already. Hit that notifications bell, like, comment, share. Everything will help me out massively. Big shout out to our sponsor, UK Fob. If you head to ukfob.co.uk, you can use my discount code RS5 for 5% off anything in store. And if you aren't already, head to my Instagram at Radio Silence Airsoft. And there's also a link to my Facebook, which I tend really not to use as much. So head over to my Instagram, it's where I'll post most often. And see some cool content on there as well. Thanks so much for watching, guys. See you in the next one. On the market, because there's a lot of... Oh my fucking god.